Hi, everyone. I want to welcome you all to this special event to honor the 2023 winner of the Anna Dewdney Read-Together Award. This award is given annually to a picture book that is both a superb read aloud and also sparks compassion, empathy, and connection. This award commemorates the life and work of author illustrator Anna Dewdney and celebrates her commitment to reading with young children and putting books into as many little hands as possible. Every Child a Reader is honored to give this award each year in partnership with Penguin Young Readers, Anna's publisher, and the Children's Book Council. Connecting young readers with the creators of books is such a magical experience that Every Child a Reader is very proud to be a part of. My name is Paulina Ramirez, and I'm thrilled to be hosting this event. We are so excited for our readers to meet the authors for this year's winning title, The Proudest Color. I want to introduce you to Sheila Modir and Jeff Kashou, who collaborated to make this wonderful book come to life. The illustrator for this wonderful book, Monica Mikai, could not make it today, but she was able to answer some of our questions through email. Sheila and Jeff will be answering those throughout the event. Sheila Modir is a pediatric psychologist. Jeffrey Kashou is a marriage and family therapist. As Middle Eastern Americans and as clinicians, they advocate for diversity, equality, and inclusion and work toward promoting resilience in children. Monica Mikai is an illustrator and former educator. She has an MFA with New York Studio School, where she studied painting and currently lives in Atlanta, Georgia, with her husband, 2 sons, and her sassy cat, Nima. The Proudest Color is the first book that Sheila, Jeff, and Monica have all worked on together, and the title has received reviews from Kirkus, Booklist, and has been featured as a segment on NBC 10 Boston, as well as Here We Read's Instagram, an incredible page dedicated to helping families diversify their library. We are going to begin this event with Sheila and Jeff's long-awaited read aloud, and from there we will move on to some rapid-fire questions to get to know you both a little better. Finally, we'll make our way into the creative process of this book. So now, without further ado, I'd like to welcome Sheila and Jeff, who will be reading their award-winning title, The Proudest Color. Yay!
Thank you for having us. We're excited to share our book.
Thank you for the award. We're just so thrilled and honored to have our book be seen by the world and be able to share it with you all. So we're so excited to be able to read this with you today. All right, so there's some pages of the character with her family. And then we jump right in. I am like a box of crayons. Bright and colorful, I see and feel in color. When I am happy, I feel a rush of razzle-dazzle pink in my hands. When I am mad, I feel sparks of bright red spread across my cheeks. When I am sad, I feel a deep blue in my eyes. When I am nervous, I feel a vivid purple in my stomach. When I am proud, I feel a beautiful brown in my heart. But for me, brown is more than feeling proud. It's the color I see when I see me. It's the color that people see when I come into a room, get on a bus, or go to the store. It's the color on my arms, my toes, and my face. The night before my first day of school, my mom tucks me into bed and kisses my forehead. She says, "Zahra, you felt many different colors today, but your beautiful brown skin is here to stay. All those feelings come and go, but your brown skin glows and glows." I press my arms against my mom's, and I like seeing the differences and similarities in our shades of brown. On my first day of school, I feel razzle-dazzle pink happy and vivid purple nervous when my mom drops me off. But the people here are not like my box of crayons. They might have colorful feelings inside, but I am the only one who is brown on the outside. I stare at my brown arms and remember my mom's words. My brown skin glows and glows. I feel a rush of brown pride in my chest and march into my classroom radiating sunshine yellow confidence. At recess, my classmate Zoe presses her arm against mine, wrinkles her nose, and says, "You're so dark. I don't like brown." Everyone laughs. I stare at our arms and I feel many colors swirl inside me. I feel bright red anger in my cheeks and deep blue sadness in my eyes, but I don't feel brown pride inside my chest. In that moment, I wish I wasn't brown on the outside. Jeff's gonna read through that.
At dinner, I tell my parents what happened at school. My mom and papa tell me that there are people who can be mean when they see my beautiful brown skin because it's different from their skin. But we want you to remember all the people who share your brown skin and all the important things that they have done in this world. Brown is the color of your abuela, who loves to hug and kiss you. It's the color of your old school principal, who high-fived the students as you walk down the hallway. It's the color of your doctor, who helps you feel better when you are sick. It's the color of Martin Luther King Jr., who inspired America with his dream of equality. It is the color of Malala Yousafzai, who bravely stands up for girls to be able to go to school. It's the color of Cesar Chavez, who helped workers have safe and fair places to work. It's the color of former President Barack Obama, who helped keep our country safe and strong. It is the color of Kamala Harris, who is the first woman to become vice president of our country and said that she wouldn't be our last. It's the color of Frida Kahlo, who boldly painted her culture and brought attention to female artists like you. All these people have beautiful brown skin like yours. As they tell me about each of these brown and beautiful people, I feel a rush of razzle-dazzle pink spread across my hands. Even though I might be the only kid with brown skin in school, I am part of a very special box of crayons. This box is full of amazing people from all around the world and all throughout history who are brown like me. No matter what Zoe says, my brown skin is important, and it's a color that makes a big difference in the world. It's the color that I am, and I will make a difference in the world. I see brown all over my skin. I feel brown fill my heart. I feel proud. Then we included a note to parents and caregivers for how to have conversations around these topics with their kids. And then we included a letter from Zoe to Zahra. She says, "Dear Zahra, the teacher told me what I said was wrong and that brown is beautiful. I'm sorry I was mean to you. Love, Zoe." Zahra responds, "Dear Zoe, brown is awesome. See examples below. Trees, ice cream, violins, my cat, and me. Love, Zoe." Or love, Zahra. And then Zahra also included paintings or portraits of other famous people of color from around the world. There's Jadav Payeng, Nelson Mandela, Zid Kala Sa, Misty Copeland, Faye Del Mundo, Zaha Hadid, Christiane Amanpour, and Mae Jemison. Some of these children might know and families might know, and some they may not have heard of before. And our intention there was that it would be a jumping off point to learn more about some of these incredible figures that have done some important things in different places of the world.
Awesome. That was such a beautiful read aloud, such a beautiful book. Well, thank you both so much and congratulations again. It's a well-deserved honor for this book. I want to start off by asking some fun rapid fire questions so that we can all get to know you a little better, and we'll then move on to the creative process of the book. So I'll start by asking Sheila these questions first, and then I'll come back again and ask them back to you, Jeff. So Sheila, where do you live?
We live in Southern California, specifically Irvine, California. We're happily married. Yeah.
Nice. What's your favorite thing about Southern California?
The weather. I absolutely love the fact that it's warm all the time. And I love the food. I think we have a lot of really good different cultural food from different places here.
Do you have a hobby?
I do. I like writing. I like reading. I like to go on walks or hikes in different places. I think Southern California also has a beautiful landscape, so we get to see a lot of different things like ocean and mountains and hills. So yeah, I like to do things like that.
Nice. You're answering my questions before I even ask them. Okay, if you could be any animal, what kind of animal would you be?
They're really good questions. I've always wanted to be a cheetah. I don't know. I think they're just really fast and they are beautiful and they're very smart and they get the job done. They're just like they're on it.
Absolutely. If you could learn any language in a week, which one would you choose?
Spanish.
Spanish.
Yeah, I know it like conversationally and I can read it, but I just want to be so fluent in it so bad. So, I mean, we have talked about living in Spain or somewhere abroad just to be able to fully immerse ourselves in the language.
Hope that you both get to do that. It's such a romantic language, so beautiful anytime you see anything in that language.
I love it.
All right. Do you have a song that makes you like wildly happy? And it doesn't need to be your favorite.
I love the song September by Earth, Wind and Fire. I think just in general, I love Earth, Wind and Fire's music. I grew up listening to it. So I think that song just always gets me really excited.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Can't argue. Do you have a favorite food?
I love two types of food. So I'm Iranian, so I love Persian food. I grew up on that. And then I also love Italian food and anything pasta, pizza, lasagna. I'm obsessed with that. And it works out because Jeff is part Italian as well as his Middle Eastern side. So he also cooks really good Italian food. So it's like win-win.
Oh, that must be nice. What about a favorite drink?
I like ginger ale or ginger beer. Like I like the ginger taste. So I'm like the one that'll go in the store to find that specific like a unique kind of ginger ale taste or drink. They're really good questions. Yeah. They're really hard. I feel like that should have gone first.
Maybe I should have said these too.
Going first. I'm like trying to think of a song right now.
Okay. Is there a kid's book that you have read that you wish the whole world could take a look at, could read?
Besides ours?
I mean,
besides this one, yes.
I mean, I think there are a lot of incredible books out there. It's really hard to just pick one specifically. I think there's the one that keeps coming to mind is Lakshmi's Mooch. I really like that one because personally for me, it has some similar parallels to the Proudest Color, but I think with Brown Girls, it has that identity piece specifically about hair on, our upper lip or on our arms that, we're very conscious of, and no one's ever talked about it. So I just thought that this book did a beautiful job talking about it. And I just think that the message ultimately was just really powerful. Like when I read it personally at this age, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful. I also absolutely love Eyes That Kiss in the Corner. The first time I read that book, I cried. I just think that it's just such a beautiful, it's just so lyrical and it just really speaks from the heart. And I think Joanna Ho just did an incredible job writing it. So those are right now when people ask me like, oh, what books should I buy or whatever, I'm always referring those to.
Beautiful. I'm gonna need to check both of those out. Okay, cool. So the next couple of questions are going to be this or that kind of questions. And some of them you may have already answered. Do you prefer the beach or mountains?
Beach.
Would you rather speak every language in the world or be able to speak to animals?
Oh. Every language in the world, I think.
Nice. Video games or board games?
Board games.
Nature walks or cozy days indoors?
Cozy days indoors.
Oh, that was a surprising one. I thought it would be nature walks. Concert or movie?
Concert.
Hot weather or cold weather?
Hot weather.
And do you prefer hardcover or paperback books in your collection?
Hardcover.
Aren't they like so beautiful? I had to get the hardcover for this one. Well, actually, it's only hardcover, right?
Okay, because I was like, do they have it in paper?
No, that's right.
That's so exciting. but yes, hardcover all the way. I even have like books that I have in like collectors, like, you know, just like I just love the cover so much. It's so beautiful that I just like to look at it and have it like on my bookshelf. So
All right. Thank you so much, Sheila. Great answers. Jeff, are you ready?
Shoot.
All right. Well, we know where you live, but where do you live?
Live in Irvine, California with my wife Sheila and our beautiful baby boy.
Awesome. And what's your favorite thing about Southern California?
Oh, the fact that I can run outside and do an activity on the beach, in the hills, on a trail, and the rock climbing. I can go skiing. It's so like diverse in terms of activities I can do.
Yeah, you all really have it made over there. It's
I know.
a beautiful place to be.
The only thing I can say is we definitely pay a premium to live here.
Yeah.
That's also true. Do you have a hobby?
Too many hobbies, as
There's a
Sheila can
lot.
attest
There's a
to.
lot.
My hobby right now is I now roast my own coffee. I like to tinker and fix things. So I'll, you know, our garage is full of like things that I'll buy that are broken, like espresso machines or, you know, things like that, and fix them up and convince Sheila that I'm going to sell them for a profit. But you know, it's
Really
work
keep
so
them
far.
for yourself.
But I love it. Yeah, it's like we have all these different espresso machines in our garage, like he just works on.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's so cool. I would really like to be more of a handy person in that way.
YouTube,
I'm definitely
YouTube
not.
is the way to go to learn.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. If you could be any animal, what kind of animal would you be?
A penguin.
Oh yeah.
Penguin. Can I ask why?
I was hoping you wouldn't. I
Oh.
don't know. I've always loved penguins. I think in one way it goes back to just Gary Larson comics about penguins and animals, but they're quirky. We love them. Like
So cute.
they're birds, but they're not really
Their
birds.
walk.
They can swim.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know, but I also love like they're so communal, and when it comes to like family, like they really stay together, and it's just such a warmth between like kind of their small unit there. So I don't know, I've just always loved penguins. There's such I mean, and you can find them, I think, on almost every continent on the globe. So it's just fascinating.
Is it true that they also mate for life? I've heard of that, but I'm not sure if that's true.
Oh,
So-
isn't that from oh no, that's from Friends, where she's like, here is
Maybe
lobster,
that's where I got it from.
lobster.
But I think penguins are similar to that, yeah.
If you could learn any language in the world, which one would you choose?
So I grew up hearing Italian and Arabic, so I think I'd have to default to those. But the one I hear the most these days is Farsi. Sheila and her family are Persian, so I'd love to be able to be fluent in Farsi so that I can communicate fully with them.
Oh, that's beautiful. Do you have a song that makes you wildly happy?
See, this is so hard because I'm a huge music lover, and so like having me narrow down to one, I was thinking back like, okay, what's one for the longest time that's been like a good mood lift? There's a 311 kind of like even like a longer song. It's called Life's Not a Race, and it's just kind of fun. It's got this long, fun, like almost like yeah, just very like Santana kind of vibe. It's just a fun, uplifting song.
Yeah, I love 311. I'll have to check that one out. I don't think
Nice.
I've heard it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite food?
That's a tough one too, because Sheila can attest. I eat
everything.
anything and everything, and
Yeah.
the weirder the better. I would probably say lasagna would also be a good favorite of mine. Yeah.
That's a good one. How about a favorite drink?
Favorite drink? Coffee. Yeah.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the way to go every day.
Yeah.
Is there a kid's book that you have read that you wish the whole world could read?
I'm trying to remember the name of it now, and I should probably go upstairs and find the cover. It's one that we saw in that local bookstore. It's not called Everything and Nothing.
Oh, it is. No, I have it right here.
It's she'll put up. It's so beautifully,
good. It's so good.
so beautifully illustrated, but it really resonates for me. It's
Let's Do Everything and Nothing by Julia
Quo.
Quo.
Yeah, it's so beautifully illustrated. I love the concept of like, let's go outside and let's experience everything, but also kind of do nothing while experiencing all of these things. And it's a very mindfulness sort of based approach, which as a clinician and using mindfulness, I just really love, and I'm excited to share with our son when he's old enough.
Oh, yeah, that's a good book that I feel like a lot of us should be reading now in this age of technology and
Right.
Yeah.
so many distractions and things like this. On to the this or that questions. Do you prefer the beach or the mountain?
Mountains.
Mountains, nice.
Mhm.
Would you rather speak every language in the world or speak to animals?
Languages. I've always had kind of a funny knack for picking up on like
Good
how
one.
animals are doing or feeling and connecting with them. So yeah, so I feel like I've kind of maybe have an
You got that covered.
inside skill there. Yeah.
He's an animal whisperer.
Nice. Video games or board games?
Board games.
Board games. Nature walks or cozy day indoors?
Nature walk.
Concert or movie?
Concert.
Nice. Hot weather or cold weather?
Hot weather for sure.
And do you prefer hardcover or paperbacks in your collection?
Theoretically hardcover, but I think just for practical use, paperbacks probably. Yeah.
True.
I mean, I love looking
Accessibility.
at all the hardcovers she talked about, but yeah, I think paperbacks are nice to just use and pick up and read.
Yeah, take anywhere with you. Not worry about them getting bent or anything.
Right, exactly.
Totally get you. All right. So awesome.
Thank
Wonderful,
you.
wonderful answers. Okay. Sheila, I wanted to ask you how the book came together and what the collaboration process was like between you and Jeff as authors, as well as Monica's contribution with her incredible illustrations.
Yeah. So the book was actually one of those books that I think is an unheard of experience where it kind of came together very quickly. We were really inspired during the Black Lives Movement that was happening and following the murder of George Floyd to make sure that we had a way to talk to children about race and racism. And we both I'm a pediatric psychologist and Jeff is a marriage family therapist, and we've done research on this topic, and so we thought we'd be able to combine our expertise and write this book. And one of the things that we used was actually an essay that I wrote for grad school, like my personal autobiography, where I wrote about how, I feel like a crayon that's not really picked or used sometimes, but when I am used, I'm the brightest color on the page. And I talked a little bit in my essay about my own experiences with discrimination and racism when I lived in a really small town that was primarily white Caucasian, and how I felt like I just didn't fit in, and I was like the crayon that didn't fit in. And so we took that essay and we made it into a children's book essentially, and we wrote it really quickly. It was actually written in 5 days. I would work on it in the morning, Jeff would work on it at night, and then we would talk about it in between because we lived together and we're married. So it made it much easier and faster to collaborate. And then we sent it off to a few publishers, and we were lucky that Familius loved it and wanted to work on it. And then they connected us with Monica. So they had actually looked at Monica's work online, and it was incredible. And she was kind of up and coming in this world. And this was her first children's book that she agreed to illustrate. And then she illustrated it. And then within a year it was published. So it was really fast. It was like this whirlwind magical experience to in September be submitting the book, and then the next September having an actual, physical copy in our hands. Yeah.
Awesome. Where do you both get your inspiration from when you're writing?
That's a really good question. I think one of the things that matters most to me and Jeff is we want representation matters. So as an Iranian and Jeff is half Palestinian, these are two groups that we aren't seeing much in the children's book world. And that's something that for my Instagram on Dr. Sheila's bookshelf, I do talk about a lot, that Middle Eastern representation is really limited. Like we are saying that we're increasing diverse books, but we are not increasing it in this sector. And although people are thinking, oh, we are though, there's a lot of books on Ramadan and Islamic traditions. That's very separate. That is separate, not very, but separate from the Middle East and other cultural experiences, because not everyone in the Middle East identifies as Muslim. So I think that that's where our inspiration comes, was to make sure that we are representing our community. And although Zahra is not Middle Eastern in our book, she has a Middle Eastern name, Zahra. And there are figures in our book that are from the Middle East that we were able to include so we could educate people more on it. And one including Malala and other people as well, like Kashou and Omnivore. So
I actually wanted to share a page from this book that was my favorite. Um, when she's when Zara is kind of
Fancy.
happily dancing with
Yeah.
her cat. I wanted to ask, do you have like a favorite vignette from this book or
So cute.
a favorite page that Monica illustrated?
Yeah, I mean, it's so cute that you said this because I really like this page too, because it's like all the different areas where she's at, and people are seeing her and her skin color, and then herself being really happy in herself. So I think that's definitely one of the top ones for me. I love the one with Frida Kahlo. I think this one I think it was so cute with the cat. I thought it was just so creative. And then I think in general, what I love them, and I mean, I love this one too, where she has her hands up and everybody is pictured in razzle dazzle pink. I think in general, the other piece that I love is that, sorry, I know I'm just, like going on and on, but there's a lot of things I love. I just love the way that Monica weaved the emotions throughout
yeah.
the book, like with that thread. So the scenes that you can really see, like even like there was a scene specifically where Zahra's feeling two feelings, and I love that she included both threads of colors, because it's important to know that sometimes we can feel two big feelings at once. And so it was really nice to see that come to life.
Yeah, I love that how you said it's threaded throughout the book and that it's in a crayon texture. I love that detail. I
Yeah.
also love that page that I showed you where she's dancing with her cat. The way that she's like kind of touching her with her foot. I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like that's very personal to me as well. Like I love doing that with my own dogs. So I just the details
Aw.
in this book are incredible. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah, I know. It's like I just love that. I mean, I just, the thing is that like when we got the copy of illustrations after, like, and it came together, like, I just love the use of an animal in this along with Zahra to make the story all come together. It is just beautiful. So I really
Yeah.
like this. I'm like very attached to this cat, and we don't have a name for this cat. But I think it's good because then kids can name it whatever they want to name the cat.
Yeah, absolutely. Smart move.
Yeah.
So, from text to illustration, this book is all about colors. Do you agree with the way Zara feels colors as emotions? For example, do you feel pink when you're happy, purple when you're nervous? And if so, what emotion do you feel with the color green? And what color do you feel when you're feeling creative?
That's a great question. And I think that there actually is a condition where people do hear and feel in color. And this book is not to take away from that. So that is one interpretation of it. But specifically for this book, what we were really thinking is that, as therapists, when we have children, we use art a lot in the work that we do, and we have them draw and color their emotions. And in it, like sometimes I'll draw a circle and say, like, in a day, color each color of your feelings, and they'll put in, kids naturally will just pick, like, for example, red for anger or blue for sadness. Maybe it's based off of, how media has shown us what colors go with what. So that was really where we were coming from, where we wanted to demonstrate identifying our big feelings, emotion identification. And we were trying to pair it with colors, because that's oftentimes how people do experience their feelings. For myself as well, right? I have certain big feelings in my head, there are specific colors I associate. It's interesting because we picked blue for sadness, but blue for me is my favorite color, and it's calming for me, and it makes me really happy when I see different shades of blue. The color green is fun because that's actually Jeff's favorite color. So I always associate it with my husband, and that's a color that makes him really happy. And when I'm feeling really creative, I think that I feel a lot of like really bright colors, like a bright yellow or a bright pink. So I think that's where we got those more like uplifting emotions, where happiness and confidence were we set in those colors.
Yeah, I think I definitely feel the same too. Definitely yellow for confidence.
Yellow, yeah, such a good color.
Yeah. I know Monica was able to answer this question for us as well, and we'd love to hear her take on the question.
Yeah. So Monica said, I love the way Zahra feels colors as emotions. Colors have been proven to create feelings in our bodies when we look at them. Personally, when I'm happy, I feel a bright orange yellow like the sun. When I'm tired and sleepy, I feel a deep purple or a soft blue.
Mm, yeah, that makes sense too.
Yeah.
Drifting on into sleep with like a nice calm blue. I like
Yeah.
that.
That's
All right.
sweet.
This book is based on extensive research and is a timely, sensitive introduction to race, racism, and racial pride. Can you speak more about the research behind this book and the process behind sharing it in a picture book format for kids?
Yeah, that's a great question. So this book is based off of racial socialization research, which was part of my master's thesis in my doctoral program. And basically what the research found was that there's different ways that parents can communicate or transmit messages of race, racism, and racial identity to their child. And the way that you're communicating is actually linked or associated with different symptoms of mental health. So one way that this book is based off of is actually talking to your child if they've experienced race and racism, talking to them about where they're from and who are people within their community that have done incredible things. So when they do feel like something is happening, and their identity is being questioned, they can reflect and be like, oh, well, Obama was president, or, Kamala Harris did these other great things and now is vice president. So, you can really, or Malala led the way for women's education. So if someone's saying, Middle Easterners are bad, I can reflect on people that have done incredible things and remember that I am destined to do incredible things as well. So those messages to your child about these important historical figures and the history of your community and culture have been associated with positive mental health outcomes versus the other ones. So what we really wanted to do was take that research and translate it for parents in this children's book format. And we actually did include the link to Hughes's research in the book as well, if people were interested in reading more scholarly articles about this specifically.
That's such an incredible take on such a pressing issue that's only, I feel like, grown in recent years. But yeah, that's an incredible way to tackle that. So in the book, Zara, the main character, experiences racial discrimination at school. When she shares this with her parents, they remind her of all the people who share her brown skin and the important things they have done in the world. Are many of your own personal heroes shared in this book? And are there any others that were not in the book that you would like to share?
Oh yeah. So actually on that point, we were really intentional in choosing, the characters in the book. We wanted kind of a broad representation of people of different professions. Like we had artists, we had people who, like Jada Paeng, who known for planting a crazy amount of trees, so that we weren't setting this expectation of needing to be exceptional as well in a specific field necessarily. We wanted representation in genders and as many communities that would consider themselves brown from around the world. So I think Sheila mentioned earlier too, we certainly wanted to make sure there was Middle Eastern representation as well. So you see that Malala is in the book. For me, it was exciting to have Zaha Hadid and Christian Amanpour in the book. I think, I don't think many people think of women as architects, let alone Arab female architect who created some just very impressive structures around the world that people come from far and wide to come and admire. I'm trying to think if there's anyone that we didn't include. As we wrote the book, the latest election had happened, and so we made the decision we also wanted to include Kamala as well. We thought that was just so timely, and her representation, I think, meant a lot. I don't know if anyone comes to mind.
Sorry, maybe someone that helped you growing up that you would have liked to include in this book.
I think personally, I would say there's just so many family members, I think, like from my grandfather's generation on up, who, brought themselves to America as immigrants and were able to still honor their culture and their background, and I think instill so many of those values in me. I still very much, I can to this day comprehend, what they went through and the decisions they made to, how the lives were there, and the decisions they made to come here were just, it's just a different breed of folks, it feels like.
Beautiful answer. Thank you so much. This next question is from Monica, and I'm hoping that you can actually read her answer for her.
Happy to.
Thank you. The illustrations in this book are so lively and captivating. I especially love the texture of the character's skin and the crayon lines that follow Zara on each page. What kind of illustration styles do you normally work with? And did this book require you to try something different? For example, watercolors, digital media, or even real crayons?
Yeah, so Monica's response is, she said, I only work with digital art using my iPad and the app Procreate. All of the textures were made using textured brushes in the app, but this book definitely required me to think of color and patterns in a way I hadn't before in my work.
Yeah, I mean, her work here is incredible. And even just the front cover of the book is just so amazing, so lively. So
She
beautiful.
really elevated so much of it. And we appreciated that kind of all of us could see our vision for the story come to bear in the illustrations.
Yeah, text and illustration, I feel like went in just like perfect. Incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
And this last question will be for both you and Monica as well. What was the first book you read that made you feel seen? And how do you feel knowing that The Proudest Color is a book that will help kids and even adults feel comfortable and proud in their own skin?
I don't know if nothing comes to mind. I know it's not a great answer to give, but nothing comes to mind about reading a book that made me feel seen. I think it was exciting. I know it doesn't count as a book, but it was exciting when Aladdin was released by Disney. It was like, oh my gosh, like how fun is this? And that something that felt so personal and was challenging to share with friends was completely mainstream. Obviously, there was a lot of problematic elements of that movie, of course, as we look back on it. It was actually even apparent then too, but you kind of took what you could get. But to the second part of the question about how do we feel knowing our book will help so many kids and even adults feel comfortable and proud in their own skin. That's been a lot of the feedback that we get as we were even asking friends to review the book before we, help us edit it or give their input. So many of them said, well, I really wish I had a book like this growing up. This is what I needed. It means so much. We didn't write this book to make money, to gain notoriety or anything like that. We set out on a mission to do something that would lead to that kind of an impact. So we're very, and then you create something and you put it out in the world. You don't know how it's going to be received. And, your friends will tell you what they tell you, but you always wonder, are they just being nice? So when people you've never met before have the response, and sometimes even responses that we didn't expect, in the positive direction, we feel like it's validating, it's empowering, it's what has motivated us to continue to try to find other ways to write other books like this that create meaning in the world. We're both in healthcare, and we want to make behavioral healthcare, mental health care, and we want to try to reach as many people outside of the four walls of our practices as well. And seeing that happen it's exciting. We're very honored and privileged to have the opportunity to do this, and are grateful that Familius supported that.
If I can actually speak a little bit personally, I grew up in a smaller town in Texas where we're known as like the Sun City, so it's very easy for a lot of us, especially coming as Mexican Americans, to get a little bit darker. With the logic of a child, you don't think like, oh yeah, I'm out in the sun all the time. Oh yeah, like I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Like, of course I'm gonna look the way that I look, but it wasn't until I actually read this that I was like, oh, like, yeah, of course I should feel proud about who I am and how I look. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with, that in general. It was so validating to actually read. And I do really wish that I had this kind of book when I was younger as well.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that personal side of it. Again, it's like it's hard to describe the feeling, and it's hard as a therapist to not be able to describe a feeling, but it's just so enlivening, I guess, to know that the book had connected to anyone of color in the way that you just described. And so I appreciate you sharing that.
I'd love to hear Monica's response to that question as well.
Yes. So Monica said, sadly, I cannot remember reading a book with characters that look like me when I was little, which makes it even more special to now be able to show a character like Zahra feeling special about how she looks. I feel extremely proud to be in a position to positively impact children's lives through my illustrations. They say to make the book you wish you could have read when you needed it most. And I feel like The Proudest Color, we did just that.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Do you also feel like this, in some ways, was also a love letter to like both of your inner childs?
It's an interesting question. I don't know if I probably could speak to Sheila. I think in some ways, I mean, given that she shared how personal the story was for her specifically, I think that's definitely true. I think for myself, being sort of half Italian and half Palestinian, and being able to kind of pass as either, I suppose. It was a unique experience, especially being in high school when 9/11 happened and growing up in a community that the term terrorist was thrown around a lot. And so being kind of misunderstood in that way and trying to be proud, but not in a way that, put a target on my back necessarily. So I think in some ways, in a very long way of answering your question, yes, I think there's a sort of a hug that's being sent to that version of me for sure.
Yeah, it definitely felt like that for me. So again, I just want to thank you all for putting this book out there into the world, and it's a well-deserved honor, one that's going to, live on and hopefully help a lot of children and adults, just feel proud, who they are. Thank you guys so much.
Yes.
This was so much fun.
Yay, we had fun too. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Okay. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.